All right, so moving on to our next topical field, which is very similar to what we just talked about, is like the value of places and spaces as communications platforms. And like this place specifically to Rosé mentioned, since it is like much more of an experience than like a store to buy product, like the question we're asking ourselves is like, how's the line between shopping, like retail spaces, and entertainment actually? Is it disappearing? It's getting very blurry. Like, what can you say about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think it comes back to this idea of like, why did people go shopping? Why did you spend time shopping? What was the point of that? Like, and you look at how malls are laid out, or used to be like laid out. You know, they had food courts. You go spend the day there. Like, and it was about going there with people than it was about actually buying stuff, you know? I mean, Amazon now, like any crap that I need, I can just click a button. It shows up the next day. Great. But I think what's happening is like, look, spaces, I've lived all over the country, right? I've lived in like California, I've lived in East Coast, West Coast, all over. And New York is funny because like, I always joke that in the winter it costs $20 an hour to leave your apartment. You know, like it does. Like, where are you going to go in the winter that doesn't cost you that much money? You know, like, great, I got to get a coffee. That kills an hour. That was $7. At least you save some money. Like, next, you know. So, how do you get together with friends? Like, you know, like you look at office culture now. Like, you used to have to, like, go down and talk to Sue from accounting if you needed something. Now you just fire off an email or hit something on Slack. Like, our level of engagement with other humans has dramatically gone down. We're all getting, you know, middle class is getting squeezed out. Everybody has to work more hours to make like less money. So we have less time. We have less human interaction. So where are you going to get this? You know, you want to be like very intentional about the time, the few hours a day you do have to spend with people. So where are you going to go? And you don't want to spend a ton of money. Like, if you can stay under $20 an hour. Like, I went to Disney World last year since I wanted to see the pros do it, you know. Last time I went to Disney World, I was like 8. A little different as an adult. Also, Epcot Center, like, they get you drunk. They don't push alcohol. It's like, it's fun, but then all of a sudden you're like wearing mouse ears and you're drunk in the middle of the day. Nothing wrong. I had a great time. But I was on the monorail, and this woman behind me was talking about how she did the math, and it cost $86 an hour to bring her family to Disney. By the time you factor in the flights, the hotels, and then you take the total amount of hours you spend in the park and divide it out, $86 per person to go to Disney. You know? And so, like, how do you get that cost down? You know? And so one is, like, it has to be affordable. It has to be, like, manageable. And then how do you easily bring people together? And I think what we really focused on is like, pay your own way. Everybody can pay their own way if they want. Because it sucks when you like get roped into doing something you don't want to, you know, like it complicates things. And so, you know, groups, how do you, also like where do you go with 20 people? If I said tomorrow you have to plan food and drinks and whatever for 20 people, you'd be like, crap. And so, like, we want to just make it turnkey. Like, you can go here.
So basically, retail destinations do provide some sort of social value.
They did. Yeah. They did. I don't know if they do anymore. You know, because those kinds of large spaces are going away.
But I mean, for example, like a small space, like your shop on Bowery, like you said, that you have people spending like an hour and a half.
Yeah, they might
right?
spend an hour and a half there and buy something that's $20, but that's still their $20 thing. But I think it is the best retail. You know, people go to it because it's an experience for them, and it's entertainment. Yeah. You have to understand that about retail, and like definitely when we designed our store, we thought about, as you guys thought about in every single spot. You know, where's the Instagrammable moment? Like, where are people going to stand and take that picture? I mean, that factors into retail. It wouldn't have 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but now you definitely think about that. Like, where are the little moments? Like, we have this. I don't know if you saw the little box on the wall with all the perfume bottles in it, and it's like an infinity box. Yeah. We have, like, every time someone comes in with little kids, we make sure little kids go over to that and they look into it, and then they're really drawn in. So there's like all these little tiny moments of entertainment, but they're very intentionally put there so that people are drawn in and have that kind of engagement with the store, because that's, if they leave having had a great experience. If they walked in and it was just like, here's all the prices, here's all the products, pick the one you want, get out of here, they wouldn't come back and they wouldn't tell the story. And it would have very little value for us. They can do that on our website. They can pick what they want. We take their time shopping. We do a lot online to tell the stories also. But I think, when we look at the big retail apocalypse failures, most of those are stores that are no different than a website. They're just transactional stores.
Coming back to one point that you mentioned, like the term value. So, obviously you have the sales of tickets, you have the sales of products, but there's also like the value of all these like Instagrammable moments, like how people share, and that's also something that, for example, like when we do events, we also like put focus on, like we want people to talk about it, to like have photo ops and moments to share. So how, like, sales aside, how important is that for events and businesses?
I think if I could start with that, I think the idea of what a social interaction or what social catalysts are has changed. You look at the brands like the Apple Store, right? It's a community space, but it's very social, and people are forced to interact in some sense, not only with the staff but with each other. And if it's just limited to person-to-person interaction, that's one form of interaction. But technology has now enabled us to reach out to larger communities. So our reach, our social network, we don't draw the distinction as people between the people I post towards and have conversations with digitally and the people I interact with face-to-face. And there are results or ramifications of removing the interpersonal element for it. People are, I think, in some instances, becoming almost unable to have direct personal conversation. They're unable to look people in the eye and be able to do that. And I think part of what a retail space can do is actually bring people into a space where they can interact with each other. And those screen boundaries or those frame boundaries can be removed, and people can actually have a sensorial experience that's fully emotionally driven by all your senses and tactile. That those things are still possible in space. You can't get that on screen. Even though our idea of social has eroded the necessity of it, it's still, I think, almost a treat to be able to go and have those experiences.
I think it's also, think of it as like social currency, but that's what a brand is. If you have a really successful brand and people are attracted to the brand, they're willing to pay a premium for the product. Partly because it's a good quality product if you're making a good quality product, but partly because they're getting a lot more out of it than just the bottle of fragrance or the package. They're getting the bragging rights about using the product, being associated with the brand. That's why, the other people who use your brand, that's why, real key opinion leaders and influencers have an impact on a business. Not to make your brand look like every other brand or to show that everyone on Instagram loves your brand, but because people want to, you start to build a critical mass of people who have an affinity for your brand, more people want to join that and be part of it. And that's why, when you have a place like yours that like everyone's posting on Instagram that they've been there and look at them having so much fun, and then their friends see that and they're like, oh, that looks like an experience I want to have as well. For us, it's, everyone from George Washington to, Mick Jagger has been our customer, and we have customers, walking in our store all the time now who are, celebrities and minor celebrities who know the brand, who knew the brand. And so those associations with the brand start to build momentum and grow and help you support a brand. It's really a critical part of any kind of successful brand right now is being able to offer social currency along with your products when you sell a product.
Photos thing, I have to comment on the photos thing.
Of course, go ahead.
It's like a big part of what we do, and like photos are experiences, not things, right? People are buying experiences; they're not buying things anymore. Or the things we do buy, they're more meaningful. You just need less stuff now, and photos are required. Like you need good photos, and I think it's hard because on one side, and I say this being we have a core team of 12 people that work in the office, and we have about 80 different employees. But of the 12, I'm the only dude besides the business partner's brother. So pretty much all women, and like one of the number one sites and social platforms that we find the photos on are like the dating apps. Yeah, like
Okay.
photos are, I mean, think about it, right? Like a good photo in this day and age is like what stands between you and finding like a romantic relationship. It's what stands between you and a job. It's what stands between you and like making new friends. Like you need good photos. And, I think in particular, like women typically get shamed for taking selfies. They're always like, oh, they're just taking selfies. It's like a vain thing. It's like, no, people have been taking like before the camera, people got portraits made. Like images and likeness has always been important, and it's like it's not something people should like shame each other for. It's really about like look, this is currency, And if experiences not things, then your Instagram becomes your trophy case for like this is all the stuff, this is all the places I've been. And it's kind of like, your Pokemon or whatever. Like you collect all the things, you put them all in your like little rack.
I love the characterization. The Instagram is a trophy rack. It's fantastic, man. It's just
it totally is though. Like it's what I went here, did this, I saw this person.
Sure.
Nobody gets autographs anymore. Like nobody gets autographs from celebrities. They get selfies.
Yeah. Well, and Nick, it goes to your point about social currency. If a brand doesn't have social currency to be able to participate with that world, you're missing a whole dimension about why people shop and why people participate and why people look to your, not just your product, but your ethos and your offering.